Alright. Good morning, good morning. I just went and dropped my kids off at school. Bringing my dog out to the bathroom. It's my boy Smokey. Smokey, come here. Here's my boy. Hey, what's up? Yeah, that's my boy. He's a good dog. This is our ball fields. T-ball fields, softball field, and it used to be the JV field down there, but then they moved it up by the school. So, but I just figured I was gonna come out today and talk a little bit more. I'm gonna be working with some yo-yos. I'm going to show you the one I normally carry with me all the time. I enjoy a responsive yo-yo. And here, let's set this back a little bit more. There we go. I think that's good. Which is this bad boy right here. It's a Magic yo-yo. It's the Locust V6 aluminum. And it's got a responsive. I can make it non-responsive by putting in the wider bearing. But what I did with this bearing is I took it, took this apart, cleaned everything they put in it, and then put some thin lube in it from Yo-Yo Factory, the long spinning stuff, which is for unresponsive yo-yos. That way I get like my sleepers, like it'll sleep all day, of course, because these do that. But it spins fast enough to where you can actually do some tricks with it as well. The main thing with a responsive yo-yo, when you do tricks, you got to keep the tension on it, because as soon as it pops up and has a free float, it will it'll wrap that string around it and just bring it right back. I mean, snap it up hella quick too. But this one is normally my carry-around because I enjoy a responsive yo-yo. I like just being able to yo-yo it and bring it back, one-handed. I mean, with a non-responsive, you can do that. You can have the whip binds, but in a store and stuff like that, this is a little safer. But this baby hums. Once I put the thin bearing lube in here, at first it was like you just barely pop it, it'd come right back up. But now it's getting to where that oil's really broken in, and this baby it'll spin, man. It'll give you just a little bit of slack to do a little bit more tricks. Like on the string tricks, oops, that was a bad throw. And there we go. Can do the gondolin. Oop. Took a little too long. You got to be a little faster with it, but with a non-responsive yo-yo to be able to do that, that's pretty cool. But it's just fun being able to bring it out and back to you. But yeah, a little bit about me. I've been married I'll be 20 years this year. I met my wife when she was 16, I was 18. I courted her, took her on dates. First got permission from her parents, because I am from the 80s, so it's the proper way to do things in my mind. Before that, moved around a lot, lived with my grandma, lived with my uncle, uncles, my Uncle Boone and my Uncle Nephi. This is the iceberg. Sick yo-yo, good one. Jeez, moved around a lot. My mom, she really just wanted someone to love her, so she'd like wind up getting with these guys that showed her affection, and they wound up being like really mean, abusive men that abused her and abused us kids. Like a couple of them, one of them in particular, he was very abusive. He'd bring strippers home downstairs while they're all doing that, and that's where our room was at. Me and my brother, anyways. My sister was upstairs. So, that being said, he was a pretty cruel guy. He didn't like me and my brother. I mean, he'd come home, wake us up, pull us out of bed, punch us in the face, make us stand up against the wall, me and my brother, for so long, like I'd even wind up pissing myself, and he'd come over and beat me for that. He was a really bad guy. I don't want to tell you who he was because eventually we had to get in protective custody, and we had to steer clear of that guy. He was a bad dude, man. And let's see. And then I remember one time we were moving. My mom had this boyfriend, and we had all of our stuff loaded up in the vehicle, and we decided to pull off the road, kind of pretty far back up into the mountains, actually, just to camp for the night. So we pulled our bed off the vehicle and laid it on the ground and was just sitting there chilling and going to bed that night. And I remember that night he took all of our social security numbers, memorized them, burnt them for some reason. I don't understand why. Well, we went to bed and woke up. He took everything out of our vehicle and left us stranded up in the mountains. And we went up living there for quite some time. And we lived off of the food that we had in our vehicle, which is commodity food. It was beans and rice and commodity cheese. So it was beans, rice, and cheese, and that's what we lived off of. And then we wound up getting a couple animals that people would abandon, and they'd find us up there, and we took them in and fed them what we were eating, and they gave us the protection that they could. Remember, we hiked around and found an old like dump where people would just dump stuff up there, and we took and made a fireplace, or a place where you could cook. There was a 55-gallon barrel drum that was cut in half, and then we used some old refrigerator metal racks on top of that to, that's how we cooked our food. And we had we had everything from our house. So we had our bed set up, we had a lean-to put on it. Oh, come on, DNA. But anyways, sorry, I was getting a little excited right there. We had a lean-to we lived under. It was all open. We had our stuff set up. And I remember at the bottom of this one tree, man, I seen a ball. It was like this big at the bottom of a tree. It was huge. And it had a really weird smell. And I went up to check, and I poked it with a stick, and it was a ball of like thousands of daddy long legs, dude. They were just like, I'll never forget the smell. It was a funky smell, man. But we lived up there for quite some time. And then we finally wound up getting out of there, getting into a different place. My mom got another boyfriend. We got a trailer, lived in a trailer, and another bad guy. Okay, we left. We went to go somewhere. I guess her and him were having problems, and we left just to go to the store and come back. And we come back, and the whole fire department was there, and our whole house and everything that we owned, all our baby pictures of us, everything was just burnt down. It was gone. I remember my mom didn't stop to talk to the cops or anything, and the fire department. She just kept driving. We just drove past and kept on going, you know. Jeez. And after that, where did we go? Oh boy, we've lived in about 30-something states. I'm 42 now, and that's quite a bit of moving. You know, that's a couple of times a year sometimes into a different state. But I mean, there were some times in the city we were living, we had no food. We'd have to eat out of trash cans, moldy food. I remember my mom would take us over to like Safeway before they started putting lids on all their produce and stuff that they'd throw away to keep people from eating it. And we'd get up there and just like try to pick the best stuff out that we could, and that was our food. You know, I don't blame my mom for anything because she only had a 6th grade education, and she was abused at home by her dad, and she just had a really sad life. And her, you know, my family, they kind of shunned her out because of that, I guess. I don't know. So I don't blame her for anything. She didn't have the education, and she just didn't know. And she did teach me how to live, you know, how to blend in, how to survive, you know. So, like, yes, it was rough. Smokey, get over here. Come on. So it was rough. But it taught me a lot of things, you know. I mean, I don't know who my dad is. He didn't want anything to do with me. Still can't find him. I've never seen a picture of him. At one point, things were getting pretty bad with my mom and family and everything, and my siblings were gone. My brother had his first kid at 14, so he started his own family. My sister, she took off with some relatives, and my mom and I were staying in this small apartment, and she had no means, you know. And I remember her just crying, and she was going to take me over to a junction and drop me off under a bridge because she felt like she was inadequate to take care of me. And this was on my birthday. I remember it being my birthday. And she was telling me to pack my stuff up, a blanket and everything, and she was really going to go drop me off, and because she felt so inadequate to take care of me that I would just be better off alone. And I sat there and cried and told her not to. And you know, I just told her, I was like, Mom, I want to be here for you. You can take care of me. It's fine. We can make this. We can do this together. We'll do it together, you know. And I remember, like, I finally talked her down, and she finally realized that we can make this, you know. This was before, because I always knew who God was, but I didn't know how to have and keep faith in him, you know what I mean? And so after that, she wound up cooking me my favorite cake, which was an angel food cake. It was like, you know, we just happened to have it, and she had some cherry pie filling, so she put that on top of the cake when it was cooked, and it was the best cake I ever had in my life. So now that's my favorite birthday cake. And not only that, it reminds me of that moment with my mom. I mean, it sounds like it was a sad moment, but it was also a moment to where when my mom and I knew that we could handle things together, you know, and that was a pretty powerful moment for us, you know. So we did make it through there. We wound up getting out of there. She had another boyfriend up there. He was a really abusive, drunken, mean guy. When he wasn't drinking, though, he was the nicest guy. He taught me how to hunt, taught me how to fish. But as soon as he started drinking Budweiser, it was like punching and hitting me and my mom. He was a bad guy when he started drinking. Well, we wound up leaving and come back, and our trailer that we were living in Montana, up in the mountains, our camp trailer, he freaking burned it to the ground and buried everything under the dirt, man. This guy was dedicated. So needless to say, we left that dude. We left him there and just moved on. We was able to get money for gas to go back to one of our towns we've lived in that we knew, and was able to receive some help there. We had some pretty good fun moments too. I mean, a lot of good adventures. I mean, lived in the swamplands, lived where armadillos just were all over the place. South Dakota, North Dakota, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, Montana, California. I want to say the outskirts of Nebraska, like towards the border. And some other states too that, to be honest, I can't even remember because I was too young for that. But we did have some good times too. Like when we moved to Silverton, Colorado, that was a cool place. It's a tourist town. It's like an old cowboy town, and dirt roads, stagecoaches riding around with people getting rides to different stores and everything. And you'd be walking down the street and freaking some cowboys would come rolling out of the freaking saloon, and then they'd have a gunfight, with like blanks and stuff. It was a really cool place to live, because we lived there. And I remember getting hired by the stagecoach because of the way that I was already dressed. All I had to do was put on my overall bibs and go barefooted, and my job was to ride. I rode on top of the stagecoach and unloaded like luggage and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. It was really cool though. Very cool town. If you could ever go to Silverton, Colorado, I suggest you check it out. Especially if you like old Western like towns and things like that. If it's still the way it was when I lived there, you'll really enjoy it. But it's been a while since I've we were there one night, okay, when we lived there, and then I remember getting woke up out of my sleep, and my mom told us to grab 2 of our favorite toys, and that's it, and we're leaving. So that's what we did. Grabbed some toys, packed up, and we left. And I don't even know what happened. We were just gone. I really liked that place. That's where I first got my first job, shucking corn behind a restaurant. I couldn't go in this restaurant and work because I was too young. So they'd have me sit out back outside of the restaurant and shuck the corn out there, and then they'd come out and get it and bring it in and wash it and do whatever they had to do with it. But I think I made like $4.75 an hour. That was good money for a kid, shoot. And I was trying to save up because in one of the gift shops there, they had the actual real Rambo knife. I wanted that knife so bad. And the day I finally saved up enough to get it, I went to go get it and it was gone, man. I was like, nah. But we had me and all my friends there, we had a really cool, and my older brother too, he was with us at this point. my brother Donovan. We were there. We had a really cool Ford house that it was like an old abandoned shack in between all these other old buildings, cowboy buildings. And that's where we'd all meet there. You know, because we'd go out, we'd hustle money, we'd sell rocks to tourists and, you know, crystals and stuff like that to make money. And then we'd go down to the store and buy like crap loads of bazooka bubblegum for the comics, because we collected all the comics. And we had a little hidden board underneath where we kept all the comics. And we dug a moat out in front of it, made a little drawbridge, freaking put nails sticking out of the drawbridge so nobody could try to jump over to it. But, you know, you'd lower it over the hole, and it was really cool. We had a lot of fun there. I remember one day as kids went hiking, we crossed the river that was there. We just started hiking up this really steep mountain, like it was steep. And then we got up there, and then we found this cave. And it was nothing but geode, amethysts, like all over. Big ones. And we tried to carry back as much as we could, which was, you know, maybe like 2 or 3, maybe 4 geodes a piece. And tried to go back with the adults. We couldn't find the place. We couldn't find it, man. We looked all over. We swear we went to the same spot, but we couldn't find it, man. And there was just huge geodes everywhere. Like, it was amazing. But the ones that we did find, we'd loaded up in our radio flyer, a red, you know, the wagon. We'd take it down to the steam engine that would bring all the tourists in. And we were like all dressed, all dirty, and, you know, being kids. And we'd sit there with railroad spikes and another rock, splitting the geodes. And then we would sell the geodes to the tourists. And we wound up getting quite a bit of money that day, actually. And I remember one of the tourists were like, "That's probably how they split them back in the old days." I was like, "Yep." Like I had any clue, you know. That was cool. Silverton, Colorado was a cool place. Very beautiful. Wyoming's a beautiful place. I liked living there for a little bit. It was only a little bit though. It was cool. Beautiful. Geez. There's a lot happened in my life, you know. Maybe I'll just make a little series of my childhood and growing up. And I won't mention any names because I don't want to have to go on and get approval for talking about it. So it'll just be him, her, and us, you know what I mean? My mom, she's passed away. My sister, she's passed away. My brother, he's still alive, thank God. He's in Colorado with his family. But I came up here. I came here when I was 18, so all that happened before 18. Okay, there was a lot more to that. I'll make another video of it. When I moved here when I was 18, I didn't even move here. I came here to help my mom unload her U-Haul, and I was going to go back to Baker, Nevada, and still work on the rock quarry with my Uncle Nephi. And when I moved here, because I'd never been to California at the time, it's always been interstates. And I thought California was nothing but palm trees and sand everywhere, you know. That was what I pictured. We come up here, and as soon as you get through Reno, you know, because we're only 50 miles from Reno, Nevada. Once you come into here, it's kind of deserty looking, you know, bushes, some small little trees and stuff, and then bam, here's all the trees, the Sierra Mountains. We got fishing, we got hunting, we got lakes and rivers, and I seen this place and I just fell in love because I'm a mountain boy. I like my mountains. And I was walking around with my sister, my oldest sister. I only have one. She's gone. I love her. I miss her. But I was walking with her, and her and I were howling, walking over the bridge, howling at the moon, you know, just being silly. And this kid, Come riding by, and he stopped, and he's all, "What are you guys doing? You guys howling at the moon?" We're like, "Yeah, we're just having a good time, you know." We didn't know anybody in this town at the time. And he's like, "Well, I'm headed to a party. You guys want to go?" We're like, "Heck yeah, man." So we went to the party, and that's where I met my wife. She was with somebody at the time, but man, when I seen her, like, she was wearing some overall, like, bibs, like shorts. She had a beanie on. Like, I loved everything about her. I was like, I fell in love. You know, I really did. She's like my third real girlfriend I ever had. You know what I mean? I didn't have time to really be with anybody when I was younger, nor did I want to be. I did because I was lonely and I wanted love, but at the same time I was afraid because everyone that I thought I could love hurt me. So I just didn't want to be hurt. But when I seen her, I fell in love with I fell in love with my wife. And that night I went home and I told my mom, I was like, "I met the girl I'm going to marry, Mom." I seriously, I went home and told her that night. And, you know, I was patient, you know. I was going to wait for her and her boyfriend to break up, and then I was going to swoop in on it. And I remember walking down the street, and her boyfriend he heard of me. And we're like the same age. I'm just walking down the street by myself, you know, and then he comes out of a store, and he's like, "Hey, you Boone?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I am Amber's boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, right on, dude." Kept walking, and then he just followed me along. You know, it's like, cool, whatever, you know. So we're just sitting there talking and everything, and we wound up going to the park and sitting on a bench, and he's like, "Yeah, I took first on my wrestling team and all this other stuff," and he's trying to get me to wrestle him. I'm like, "Dude, I don't need to wrestle you. I don't need to prove how strong I am. I know who I am, all right?" And he hated that because I think he wanted to try to show me how tough he was, you know. But I'm not a macho guy like that. I know who I am. I know how tough I am. I don't need to prove to anybody how strong I am. You know what I mean? And right now I'm going through some stuff. You know, I'm 400 pounds. I put on a lot of weight. I ruptured my lumbar 4 and 5 disc, and got a compound fracture or compression fracture in my thorax spine up top, and it broke off a little piece of my spine about the size of the tip of my pinky, about right there. So that's kind of floating around in there right now, and so it's hard to do like my rollerblading and shooting bows and everything right now, and those are all my outlets, you know. So I was depressed, started drinking heavy, really heavy, and I'm still kind of drinking right now. I'm trying to slow down and not. I need to stop and just focus on my family and my health and walking and doing things like that, you know, for myself. And it's not for myself. I don't want to be selfish. I just want to be. I need to be healthy for my kids, you know. I want to hike with them to every mountain. I want to get them out to hike mountains because I love hiking, and I used to be in really good shape. I would rollerblade like 25 miles a day here in this town. One summer I wound up rollerblading over 1,500 miles that summer, which I never would have thought I would have ever rollerbladed that far, but I did, and I still have it. I have it recorded on my workout tracker, and I love hiking up to the P. You know, maybe one of these days after I start hiking and I need to do more walking and get my legs into shape and get some of this weight off of me. Maybe one of these days, hopefully, I'll take you guys up with me up to the top of the P. We'll do a hike up there, and you guys will just come along with me up there and see the view from up there, because it's beautiful up there. I love going up there and hanging out. Normally when I go up there, I always like to like bring like something organic, and I'll just take it and I'll just leave it up there, you know, like even if it's like some nuts. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a beautiful spot. I feel like I should leave like, I don't know. That's just, so that's what I do that. But I'll leave like an apple. I'll just something of gratitude, you know, to be able to get up there and just enjoy the beauty up there. Wait until you guys see this old, huge, crazy looking juniper that's up there. It's freaking so cool looking, man. It is a very cool looking juniper tree. What time is it? All right, I think I've been talking your guys' ear off for quite some time right now. That's all right though. That's what this is about. You know, if anybody wants to listen in and get to know me a little bit better, this video right here will give you a little bit of insight on me and where I'm coming from. I do like to make knives. I love making knives. I love working with metal. I like martial art weapons in general. When I was younger and in shape, I mean, that's what I love to do. You know, I love throwing knives. Smokey, nope. Come here, load up. Load up. Come on, load up. Get in there. Somebody's hound dog over there. Good boy, thank you for not taking off. Geez, where was I at? This is why I like going up in the woods, because I can be myself and I can talk and say the things I want to say, and there's nobody around to come in and change it or change the dynamics of it or throw my thought pattern off, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna close it for now, and we'll finish this conversation and storytelling tomorrow. All right, I love you guys. God be with you, and pray and talk to God, and read God's word. Good old King James. That's what I like to read. And God bless you guys. I love you. Thanks for listening in. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And we'll talk to you later. All right, bye.